Hello friends, welcome back to my channel again. Today's video is going to be super fun because we are going to reflect upon all the books that we have read this year so far, aka the Midyear Freakout Tag. Before we get into this video, I would like to take a moment to share my sense of gratitude towards you because recently I acquired 1K subscribers, which was surreal to me. It is out of the words. I cannot express my feelings about that. And you guys are the sweetest. You watching the videos was more than enough for me, but you decided to interact with me, comment on my videos, like my videos, and say so much of kind words towards me, which has always been an inspiration and motivation for me. So, as a gratitude, I thank you from bottom of my heart, and as an exchange, I will strive to make quality content for you, and I hope that we will grow together. Getting into this video with the same positivity, this video is going to be my mid-year freakout tag. If you're not familiar with this concept, it is kind of a set of 13 questions, and you can see a lot of book content creators make this video on YouTube around this year. I love making book tag videos. They are super fun, and you can explore about your own taste in books in them. And I have made mid-year freakout tag in the past years too. I will link them down below for you if you are interested to watch. So this year I had a superb reading experience, and I can't wait to share all those thoughts with you. So the first question is the best book that you have read so far this year. And for me, that book is The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett. I have already spoken about this book in my reading wrap up. This book was such an experience. I loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. This is such a beautiful story of two colored twins, and they go on with their lives, taking different chances, different decisions in life, and end up in very different lives. It is very, very interesting to follow all the sisters and their decisions. And I felt like I read an entire story of a family for 3 generations. And I loved the woman-centric story, which is very, very unique and captivating to read. I was totally immersed in this book. This book was the best book that I've read this year so far. The next question is the best sequel that you have read in this year so far. And for me, the only sequel for any book that I read this year was Dance with Dragons. It is of 2 parts, and this was a very good time. My only problem with this book is I don't have the next book in this installment because George R.R. Martin has still not written the next book, which is kind of sad, but nonetheless, I enjoyed this, and it gives me so much of satisfaction that I have finished all the Game of Thrones books that are out now. In this book, we follow Cersei and her atonement walk, and there is this Night King that is getting ready, and Brandon is on his quest, and Jon Snow is coming down south to talk to a lot of people to gather dragon glass. Those are the things that are happening in this. If you know, you know. You might have watched the TV series, and this was such a nice time, and this is the best and only sequel that I read this year so far. The next one is a new release that you have not read so far, but you want to. For me, that is the chunkiest of all books, the Crescent City series. This is the 3rd installment, House of Flame and Shadow, and this is a weapon, by the way. So this was very, very intimidating for me. I don't know when I will pick this up, but I have to pick this one up. I think the Sarah J. Maas is coming up with the next installment next year, in the coming year. So I do want to finish it before that. So hopefully I read it pretty soon. The 4th question is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. For me, that is only book because I am kind of obsessed with the first part, and the author decided to magically write a second part to it. The book that I'm talking about is Somewhere Beyond the Sea by T.J. Klune. This is the 2nd installment in the House in the Cerulean Sea, which we thought was a standalone. Now it is. Now there is a spin-off. There is a story. We see more of Linus Baker and Arthur Prentice. It is going to be such a wonderful time, and I cannot wait for September. The next one is about the biggest disappointment of this year, and for me that is Sally Rooney's Beautiful World, Where Are You? This was not for me. I feel like the characters were one-dimensional. I couldn't read past chapter 5, and there is nothing much I want to tell about this book. This just wasn't for me. This was a disappointment. And I was intent to love this book, ended up not liking it as much as I love to. So this is a kind of a disappointment for me. The next prompt is biggest surprise. And for me, this year is The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. This is a surprise because I have never heard of this book or this author before, but just as a whim, I found it in an YouTube recommendation, and I thought that this might be right up my alley. And I was not wrong. This was so beautiful, so good. The world building, the political war, everything is top notch. And I am planning to finish the series this year. There are three more books. It's a quartet, and I can't wait to read it. I knew that I'm going to like it, but I didn't know that I would love this so much. So this was a surprise for me. The next one is my new favorite author, and that would be again Brit Bennett for The Vanishing Half. This is the first time I'm reading a book from Brit Bennett, so she has immediately become my most favorite author now, and I am planning to read all the books that she has written, and I can't wait to read more of her work. The next one is my newest favorite crush, and sadly, I cannot think of anyone because most of the books that I read are woman centric, and I did not read much about fictional men this time. So, still, that place is occupied by Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice. No one could beat him, but nonetheless, if I had to pick one, and I would be picking Calvin Evans from Lessons in Chemistry. This guy kind of dies, which is sad for me, but he was a great guy. He was a great catch. He's so chivalrous. He was so cool, and he's such a good partner. So I think this would top that post. So why not? The next question is a book that made me cry. No book made me cry, but this book made me feel something. It made me feel the emotions. I was feeling heavy hearted when this book was over. And that is, again, The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett. You could see that how much I love this book. I keep on showing this book again and again. I promise you that this will be the last time I'm showing you this book, but this book made me feel things. The 11th question is a book that made me happy. And for me, that is The Days at the Morisaki Bookshop by Satoshi Ekisawa. This is such a cute and feel-good book that you can read just in one sitting. I had super fun with this book. It was so light-hearted. It had the basic human emotions that the Japanese literature play with. It was all magical. It was cozy. It has library. It had bookshops and coffee shops. And there is a trekking vacation. Everything was so cozy, and this literally made my heart fill with happiness. The 12th question is the most beautiful book that you have bought this year so far. For me, I have three books here. The first one is My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier. This is such a beautiful edition. This is the Virago Modern Classics, and this is a hardcover. And I intend to collect all the Daphne du Maurier works in this edition. So such the color, the aesthetics, everything is so good and apt for the story itself. The second book is Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden. I love the color palette, the golden embossing, and there is one guitar here because it involves music, and this is such a great cover. I loved it immediately when I saw it. And the last one, as usual, is Crescent City series. They have a very unique art style. I loved all the covers of all the books in this series. This is such a darling. The last question is, what books do you need to read before the end of this year? For me, there are a zillion of books, but if I want to mention some, I want to finish the Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu. There are three more books. I want to read that, and I want to read the Crescent City series again. And I also want to read Somewhere Beyond the Sea by T.J. Klune. And I also think that Riley Sager is coming up with another title this summer, Middle of the Night something. So those are in my radar. I would love to read and explore all those books. So that is it. That is pretty much it. So I hope that you enjoyed my reflection upon all the books that I've read this year so far. Let me know in the comments that what's the best book that you have read so far this year and what is the worst book. And if there are any book recommendations for me to check out, please do tell me all those things in the comments. I would love to know. I would be very happy to interact with you. So please do comment on my videos. So until I see you in a very next video with a bookish content, keep reading. Bye-bye.